poetry, radio, versed. It's all about the D. Desire, discipline, dedication. I know what you were thinking, savages, but that ain't it. Let's go.
Cyrus the Taino. You know, the greatest commandment of all is love. I use that energy and I turn it around and write. See, the problem is that we're not outnumbered, but we're unorganized.
Welcome, welcome, and welcome. I am James Hamilton, and this is Versed, your home for poetry on the radio. We're coming to you, as always, from the hub of Midwest poetry, the WBOM full-service radio studios located inside the basement of the Mendelssohn Center for the Performing Arts in Rockford, Illinois. Before I get to my guest today, let's acknowledge the people we have in the studio with us, otherwise known as our regular Versed team. My co-host, confident friend, wingman, producer, and certified cultural icon,
beautiful,
Paul Savvy Magoo Goddard. How are we doing today?
I'm excited. I'm excited to meet our guest and to learn about him, learn his style, his voice.
You've never met him before, have you?
Not before today.
First time. You may have to push your chair back a little bit because our guest today is extremely powerful. I'm just going to tell you that.
I could hear him spitting his verse from outside the room.
Normally, we have two guests on the show. I had you paired up with Paradox Frequency Multiplier. He's married to Versed alumni Mickey Colgan, or Mickey Engel now, I guess, because they're married.
Right.
Mickey is the one who wrote our Versed theme song. And Bradley was going to come on today because he shared a common thread with you. I normally have guests paired up per a common thread that I cook up in my head. So today, just for fun, I came up with a common thread between you and my co-host, cultural icon, Savvy Magoo Goddard.
I still won't be able to guess it.
Well, you never know. You never know. We'll come back to it at the end again, and we'll just see. It's just something fun that we do. So it is my pleasure to introduce this week's Versed guest. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we've got Cyrus the Taino!
Hello.
So soft-spoken.
What's good?
What's good? So, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, most definitely. We do not usually do, or I don't, try not to do bios for people because the way that there's no way I could possibly do it justice. So I like to just give you some of the floor, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what you do, all of the stuff that Versed listeners need to know about Cyrus the Taino.
Well, first and foremost, got the name Cyrus from the piece that I put together, Tribute to the Warriors movie, 1979. The first speech that he had, he was talking about uniting the people. So it was kind of like a play around in the words where it was first Cyrus the poet. I needed, our inspiration, my brother was telling me I need to come up with a poet name, a certain name. And all of a sudden that gave birth to Cyrus the Taino. Even before this, of actually, him putting a notebook in my hand, I've been, doing underground rap for several years and recording my own stuff and performing and having other different pieces before this, but a lot of just freestyle. So this, by getting into the notebook and writing other poem pieces and changing it around, what I changed around about the Cyrus speech, instead of talking about the Jones Street Boys right next to the Van Cortlandt Rangers and all of that, I use what we came from in the Midwest, the Chicago gangs, and I mentioned them, where he says, you're standing right next to GDs, right next to Vice Lords, Latin Kings, right next to Spanish Cobras. Nobody is wasting nobody. So, that speech alone is like, almost like he's telling a sermon, Yeah, regrettably, he was shot in the first scene, but it makes a lot of sense because maybe, you know, I consider myself like a martyr for the game. I'm willing to do what I gotta do. I'm affiliated and I'm a Brown Beret from out of California, where that is where my chapter is out of. And I represent the Brown Beret organization. Not only is the organization here in Wisconsin, but Brown Beret organization I've been involved with for several years, giving back to the community. It's not just protest and activism and being out there, someone that's got shot and killed, but it is to give back to my community. Because I come from roots just how I relate to that Cyrus piece. I was a former Latin King member out of Milwaukee. I believed their ideology. I stood with the streets. I was willing to die for it. And now my life began to turn around, being involved with the Brown Beret organization, being involved with King Rick, where he rest in peace, of the original Black Panther Party out of Milwaukee. He's the one who vouched for me and got me affiliated with the Brown Berets. So just being able to do that work, not only being able to give back to the community, doing food drives, we're doing coat drives, but we're being out there for the people, to help the people, even more than now, to stand against the oppression, what is happening now that we are being targeted. And me, I'm the darkest out of all of my, you know, my father's kids. You know, my dad's light-skinned Puerto Rican. He looks Italian. My mom looks white-skinned. You know, all my brothers, I'm the darkest one. So, you know, that's why I even did another poem piece that I'm a target, that they're after me, you know? I mean, I can relate to that. You know, months ago, sometime last summer, I'm over there at Pick and Save. There's a fucking Homeland Security at the end of the fucking checkout line. But what I got on, because not only I represent my Native Indigenous, I represent the Native Indigenous that were here before 1492. And that is Milwaukee, McGuanquin. And I had that hoodie with the chief on it. That's the thing. Gangs, where I came from, we used fear, intimidation, and domination to take over your neighborhood. Shoot out all the lights in that neighborhood so you came through, you got bricked, or you weren't from there, we shut you down. That's just the lifestyle, but I turned that around to be militant for the right reasons, to protect my people, to not only give back, you know, out of all the graffiti and tagging that I used to do to try to make a name for myself. An old school king told me, we're out here, we're trying to make a name for ourselves and everything, and it's not worth it. Because when you're with your kids and you're with your family, your girlfriend, then they know you and they know your name. And there's people that don't even know you, or you've been out of the gang, and they'll be after you. So it's life lessons. And life lessons, what I've been through the grace of Creator, I'm still here today because I used to stand on a corner willing to get shot broad daylight as they pulled up, get shot by other rival gangs that came, all these other guys that I looked up to that were my idols. See, before the internet, we had word of mouth on the street. It wasn't, oh, these little keyboard gangsters, oh, I'll beat your ass. No, it was word of mouth on the street. That's how you earned your reputation, not being a fucking Facebook or YouTube celebrity. You had to really earn your stripes in the streets. And this younger generation, you know, that's what they're caught up in.
Let me say this. I mean, there's a lot that I want to say and a lot I want to dive into. The first thing would be, I would be the guy that got shot in the first act in The Warriors. I'm just going to say that right out of the bat. I feel like I wouldn't have made it through that movie. So what I'm hearing is writing for you today is cathartic. It's a way of you processing your old life.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is super common among the artists that we've had on this show. I think probably 8 or 9 out of 10 come on and say that's the one thing that they have in common, is that that's what started them writing was, let's process the stuff that happened. Let's take this frown and turn it upside down.
Wow, that was cheesy.
It was cheesy, but that's okay. That's all right. You know, I can be cheesy.
Yeah,
I love cheese,
you're
though.
authentic.
That's for sure. I mean, how much more authentic can you get than the monologue that we just heard?
No kidding. I'm still wondering what happened with the ice guy at the end of the grocery line.
Yeah, he waited, watched me to try to get a reaction out of me, to see if I'd run or jump or whatever. And where I come from, I'm from the streets, and I don't break these OG reflexes. It's, you know, street psychology to try to psych me out. So eventually he just walked away. But you know what the ironic thing is? The West Dallas police station is right behind that Pick and Save. And I saw reports of a pedophile that's released on the streets. You got pedophiles out there, and it was, you know, yeah, granted, but he's American citizen, Mexican pedophile that's been released by the West Dallas PD or the MPD that let him out there. So it's like, wow, you're watching me. What criminal act am I doing? Literally, ironically, I'm in line buying cat food for my son's cat, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How innocent can you get?
Yeah. I look criminal because the color of my skin.
The dichotomy of that is just the guy that's telling these stories and the guy that's there that's recanting and that's giving the monologue is in the grocery store buying food for his son's cat.
Right.
That to me is Cyrus the Taino.
Nice.
Powerful, powerful poet. The first piece that you did for us was Future is Ours. And he did that piece in Milwaukee. I was at an open mic with him and I Inspiration, a couple other people a few weeks ago. And he did that piece in that little room in the back of a bookstore in West Dallas, down the street from that Pickens Day, right?
Yep.
And I was just like looking around, waiting for the plaster to crack on the ceiling in there. I'm shitting you not. It is a powerful, powerful piece of poetry.
I can't wait to hear it.
You know, King Moose has been on the show and mentioned that he's got a phrase how he combines art and the activism that he believes in.
So he's a professional community organizer and a rapper and a poet. Wow. And so he calls himself an artivist. Yeah. So are you an artivist? Artist and activist.
Yes. Yeah, I consider myself that. Can you count, sucker? I say the future is ours if you can count. See what we have right here? GDs sitting right next to vice lords. Latin kings sitting right next to Spanish cobras. Nobody is wasting nobody. And that is a miracle. And miracles are the way things ought to be. You're standing right next to 9 delegates from 100 gangs from Rockford and Illinois and Chicago and Milwaukee. That's 20,000 hardcore members. 40,000 not calling affiliates. 20,000 organized but ready to fight. 60,000 soldiers. Tell me, Rockford. Tell me, James Hamilton. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? What we have right here is the sum total of one gang. One gang could run this city, and nothing would be allowed to move unless we allow it to happen. Tax the mafia, tax the fucking president, tax these pigs, tax the cartels. Because we have the street suckers. Can you dig it, Milwaukee? Can you dig it, Sturtevant? Can you dig it, Wisconsin? Can you dig it? The problem is the man turning against us, one another, and that we haven't been able to see the truth. We've been fighting for 10 square round feet of turf. Little piece of turf. That's crap, brothers. The turf is ours by right because it's our turn. See, all we gotta do is keep up the general truce, take over one borough at a time, secure our territory. Secure our turf. Because Milwaukee, Rockford, Illinois, and Wisconsin, and the Midwest and Minnesota, it's all our turf. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Media outlets, can you dig it, people? Can you dig it? Peace. Cyrus the Taino.
So we like to talk about creative process, and there's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now. What keeps you rooted in your art today when life around you gets loud?
I use that energy. I'll give an example. My parents have been married 30 years. And I told my dad, I'm like, I mean, I hate to air out some laundry about my parents, but the arguing, it takes a skill to be arguing with each other. You think about
Right.
it. Like I even told Aspiration when I got down here, says, I'm going to leave my parents a notebook and a pen, write down everything. My dad, he is, with the Orange Monster, and he's Puerto Rican and denies his own culture because he's got light skin, so he can blend in and be one of them or whatever.
He can pass.
Yeah, he can pass. But when you hear him talk with an accent, you hear him talk to Spanish, hey, this is America. You can't talk Spanish in here. And he's going to know what that's going to feel like really quick. But I use their energy. Like the Bible and biblically, because he believes he's a Christian, the greatest commandment of all is love. Mm-hmm. Love your neighbor. And if you ain't got love in you, then you got murder in your heart. So I end up being a poem piece. I was like, the greatest commandment of all is love. Even Latin kings, they say king love. Or the Cobras, they say Cobra love. Even GDs say GD love. But this man, he's a thug. He claims to be a Christian, but he's a thug because you're using the word of God to manipulate. So I use those energies and those things around me. Anytime since I had this notebook, I'm running out of room. I'm just been writing since I've been around my parents. It's that ideology or whatever. I use that and I turn that around. And I even remind my dad who he used to be, what it's about. Because like I just told Black Ice's brother or his relative, I was born in the 70s where Saturday Night Fever came out. And that's how gave birth to me. John Travolta. My dad was the Puerto Rican John Travolta. And he took pictures like that with an afro. My dad had an afro.
Oh.
But because his hair is so straight right now, he feels like he can blend in with all these maggots. But
Wow.
yeah, like I said, I use that energy and I turn it around and write. I kind of use it and then I put the headphones on, listen to something. I've been listening to The Three Evils of MLK for the last couple of days, getting different things out of it. It's exactly what is going on today.
History repeats itself, no doubt about it.
This poem piece is called Still Reeking. No matter where you're from, the States or the island, still reeking. Light reeking, dark reeking, faux reeking, real reeking, rich reeking, poor reeking, house reeking, field reeking, still reeking. My grandfather was a World War II vet, Purple Heart decorated and affiliated, still reeking. New Yorican, African, Taino, Puerto Rican, still reeking. To you, I'm just Julio or Jose, but I'm still reeking. I'm from the island of my people, still reeking. Mexican Puerto Rican, Mexican, Black Puerto Rican, still reeking. Label us outlaws because we're young lords like Chacha Jimenez, still reeking. Rich port, poor port, but it was always the native island of Borican, still reeking. Criminalize us, FBI most wanted, still reeking. Carmelo Anthony, Jim Jones, y'all still reeking. Quit trying to play us. We all reeking. We all from the island. Label us spics from the sticks. Slap us around like Marlon Brando. Still reeking up in this piece.
Have you heard of the New Yorican Poets Cafe?
Yeah, I've been on there. Yeah, I spit that
okay.
piece on there.
Oh, you did? All right,
yeah.
so you were on there with Elemental on the Tune broadcast?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We had on the show DG Clearing, is my mentor, and another Wisconsin poet on the show, and he told a story up there. New Yorican is New York, Puerto Rican combination, and the guy who started that was Miguel Aguilera, started that, and told the story about, when people snap at poetry readings, how that came about was Miguel would have poetry readings in his apartment, and when they clapped and made noise and hoot and hollered at good poems,
noise
they would get
complaints.
evicted. They would get evicted. Yeah.
Wow.
So when he moved into the New Yorican Poets Cafe building, they switched to snapping, and I think that place, the brick and mortar's closed now. I think it opens later this year. but 1973, I think it's been going since. The Ginsbergs, every, great poet, Saul Williams, all of the, modern, great, iconic poets have performed there.
Can I just comment?
Go ahead, please.
So you've gone there already. My theme for the current month or so is I talk to a lot of poets. In person, on the phone, all day long. They stop by my house. Two things I can count on. One of them you'd predict. I can always count on poets spitting verse, performing a poem. But the other thing is they go to their spirituality really fast. You've already done it. My thing is God is love, and you went right there. Yeah. So that was beautiful. So I just had to comment on that.
Let me ask you another question about creative process. If you could narrow it down to one principle or truth that guides the way that you create, what would it be?
I think it's almost like a thought process. I have it circulating in my mind, and I just put it down, and start writing. Anything that I could put together as an idea. I started making movie promos now for iInspiration Films. Will be coming out soon. I've been with them, and we'll listen to the their AI generated blues or something like that, where they do a Tupac song in blues version. I'm already telling him the movie script and making up movies while I'm with him. I just haven't wrote it down yet, but they're in my head. And I'm telling him, I'm like, man, there's even a series coming out on Netflix that's got to do about the Texan, and it's his mom's neighbor, like I'm making up so many other different things as I go along, drawing inspiration from him, from what I hear, really, and that's how begins my creativity, and a little bit of THC.
I mean, haven't heard, a fair number of your poems, a couple of them a few times. This stuff just rolls off. You mentioned when you were doing hip hop or rap before that you did a lot of freestyling off the cuff. I've seen videos of you doing that. You did that, during your bio today on the show. You did that as you're answering questions. I can see almost like a live version of your creative process working in real time. Does that track with how you write? Like you spit it and then write it down, or are you trying to keep up with yourself and write it down at the same time?
Yeah, there's been other times in the past when I've been rapping. There's so many like really good pieces that I've rapped and I've freestyled, and I'm like, I want to be able to still keep that, memorize it. So I'll be like rewinding and forwarding and playing back my verse, whatever I've rapped, and writing it down. Okay. So I have it, writing, on the page. And I mean, for a while, even if I've been writing other stuff too, before he got me this notebook, like I heard a poet say, it's not the same of just actually being on that paper with that pen to the pad writing. It stirs up the creative fluid to keep you going,
I've heard that, and I actually know a lot of poets that won't even type their social media posts. They'll take a photograph of the handwritten poem and post the graphic. Some of them for, whatever, we're superstitious fuckers, we can be, and they may do that to avoid it being copyrighted or whatever. It just depends. But I think there's still a fair amount of poets out there, writers for that matter in general, that prefer to handwrite stuff.
Yeah.
I know Maisie Knox keeps a notebook.
Funny you bring her up. So it's a Rockford poet, Maisie Knox. She's like a phenom, and she wrote a poem about creative process that she calls mad. And it's basically mad when you're in the shower and you missed a line, or mad when you're this or that. So we like to continue to invoke members of our versed family. So I'm going to ask you, Cyrus the Taino, what makes you mad?
Oppression, racism, everything going on right now, the execution. I mean, all those other things, they stir up inside of me. That's why I dedicated a piece to Renee Good.
No lives matter, right?
Yep, no lives matter. The whole concept was like, well, no, because the black lives matter, no white lives matter. And, yes, every life matters. And even a Brown Lives Matter movement started for us as well. And then they try to say, because so-and-so and these millionaires, they fund Black Lives and blah, 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 blah. And now what are they going to say? That 7 Democrats came along and they helped sign the bill for ICE. That shit fucking just really, really fires me up, But at the same time, I use that in a positive way to try to still get the word out and being able to say, look, this is an awareness of what's going on. They kind of itch inside of me and provoke me in a different way that I'm able to at least get some positive results. I get irked of that, or even, like I said, my My pops will use the word to manipulate my mom. Submit, submit. I mean, he wants to be a wrestler. He wants to be Macho Man Savage. There's men, they use this manipulation even in the Word of God. It's a control mechanism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they use the Word of God. So that, like, I mean, they use that to manipulate and control people, and they don't really realize that. But that's what I even put in that other piece that I said, you know, that there's no love. Love don't live here no more.
I think that we're in a position in this country where everybody is at a heightened state of awareness or a heightened edge. I mean, I think there's a lot of uncertainty going on. There's always going to be people that'll weaponize whatever they can in order to try to manipulate a situation. I think that's American.
Yeah.
I think we do that, and it is the byproduct of everything that came before us. I think we are in a dark place. The piece that you mentioned there, No Lives Matter, about Renee Good getting shot up in Minneapolis, I can remember looking at the video after it happened, almost right away. And I went, that's not right. I didn't think red or blue or Trump or anti-Trump, MAGA, none of that shit. I just looked at that and went, that's not right.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I was pushed in a direction after that to where I'm not supposed to believe my eyes.
Right.
And that is from George Orwell, 1984. He said that's the last thing the government will do is convince you to believe that what you saw is not the truth.
Yeah. This poem piece is dedicated to Renee Good, Minnesota. Dedicated to those who are getting shot broad daylight. It's called No Lives Matter. They told us that white lives matter. They don't. They told us that blue lives matter, but they don't. But in Minnesota, no lives matter. See, because in broad daylight, they labeled her an agitator, executed by judge, jury, and prosecutor right on the spot. It's like we're living in some kind of parallel universe, turned upside down into Salem's lots. They're already raiding native reservations and native nations in Minnesota. Native lands and stolen lands they're walking upon. And even in Clare, Wisconsin. Stop, look, learn, listen. You hear them? You hear them? They're coming. The ice soldiers, the Iceman, he's coming. Be ready, be prepared, be organized. See, the problem is that we're not outnumbered, but we're unorganized. If we organized, we are able to overcome. Just like MLK, we shall overcome. This ain't America that we live in. This is a third world country. This is the streets of your psychology, urban warfare. That's what it taught me. That's what these streets taught me. But I use it and I turn around as a brown beret soldier to give back to my people. And I give to the streets because I am out here to observe, serve, and protect my community. But it's not just them. Just like Superfly said in the movie Superfly, you want to come and attack me and my soldiers and the people I got with me? White ones, baby. Why don't we unite like Power Rangers, like Black Stone Peace Rangers, like Black Panthers and White Panthers and Yellow Panthers and Brown Berets and come together? Because now the time is now, and it is revolution now, and we better quit kidding with ourselves because now they're gonna come to your house like a Gestapo and a loaded weapon in your face. It's time that they get put in their place and recognize, don't mess with our people. They've been working hand over fist, and you go ahead and take their taxes, and it don't amount to shit. Peace.
Well, I'm going to go back to another one of your sayings.
Yeah.
That poets are first responders, where we have to be on the ground, watching the action, observing it, and recording it. That's how we're first responders.
Yeah.
But talk about being a first responder.
I'm out there on the front lines anytime that I can, representing the Brown Beret organization, and especially affiliated with so many other people that are out there, the Milwaukee Alliance for Resistance, Voices de Ventura, all these other people. Being able to be out there and see what's going on. And I was always taught as a Brown Beret, you kind of like, if you're doing a march or you're out there for the people, you look on the rooftops, you see what possibly all these other scenarios could pop off and happen.
Wow.
And matter of fact, Mexican independence, while the Milwaukee Alliance was out there downtown, they had MPD with sharpshooters on top and sniper scopes. Why? These people are unarmed.
This is like after September 15th?
Like right the Monday right after they had the celebration on the south side, they went and marched on a Monday.
Oh.
Yeah. And here the MPD chief of police on our tax dollar, he's over here got anti-Israeli terrorism, counterterrorism, the same thing that they're blowing up in Gaza and Palestine, they're going to use on us. That's why we're 10 drones deep. The game out here in Milwaukee and everywhere has turned into Star Wars, ironically. I've seen drones where they follow people home. Surveillance. Every time I had a laptop, I put a piece of tape where the camera was. They'll listen to whatever that's the thing. They want to be in your invasion of privacy, see everything that you're doing, and have control. And what do we weaponize? What do we have that's weaponized? But the narrative that you see on TV is we're removing all the rapists, but yet we got ICE agents. If you don't want us here in this country, then why are you raping our women? Even have the authority behind that, and then you're recruited. He's a Proud Boy, straight up Cuban sellout, man. You know what I mean? He's over here with ICE too, so it's a lot of BS.
I had a question up in front of me. I just kind of find it funny that it says how your lived experience shows up in the choices you make as an artist.
That's
it's your
the whole
authentic
episode.
self. It's
Yeah.
your authentic self. So let me switch gears for a minute. So how long have you been writing?
Oh, I've been writing for years, but I started get a rejuvenation. So teamed up with iInspiration and got involved with the Poet organization as well, because they do a lot of activism outreach. That's what got me reacclimated into it.
Your performances are powerful, punchy, percussive, Richter scale poetry. You definitely fit that bill, and you can borrow that moniker whenever you want, the Richter scale poetry thing. That's not why you're here. You're here because, I see the shell. I see Cyrus the Taino and the power that's behind him and stuff. And then when you look a little bit deeper, you see this guy who posts pictures of food on Facebook. I'm talking, it is done in an artistic way that is tender and in total antithesis to what you hear when he reads his poetry.
After he recorded his pieces, and I was out in the green room with the other guests, and you came out, and I said, wow, that was loud. And you leaned over and said to me, inside, he's a beautiful marshmallow.
This is a sensitive guy here that makes beautiful food and has this exterior that's out there. And if you listen to the words that he says in his pieces, it all comes from a place of love. We always talk about authenticity with artists on this show. Nobody's going to be able to do Cyrus the way Cyrus can do Cyrus, period. But there's so much depth to that I hope people that listen to your work can stop and check out the words and see what you're saying, because I know when you're putting that together that you are cognizant of what you're saying and that you're thinking about the words that you're putting together.
What I was about to say, what I forgot my train of thought is, I had years of writing where I had stacks of almost 15 to 20 notebooks that I've written in over the years since I started rapping and doing with Christian rap. And then all of a sudden there was a flood in my parents' basement there where I was staying, and all those notebooks got all moldy. So I ended up drawing away from doing that and started freestyling. And now, like I said, a rejuvenation of writing now sparked, from my brother handing me this notebook. It's been nonstop. But yeah, 20 notebooks in a briefcase I had, of years of writing. I used to something I just wrote down, I had the beat going, I would practice for 10 minutes straight, keep on going and going and going. I'd end up remembering that whole flow. Sometimes it takes being before the public, but I had this experience, the ministry that I used to be with, the church ministry, where that's what they did. Now they've kind of turtled down and doubled down, and they're not even out here. But yet they were a revolutionary ministry. I was just telling them, we used to come out here to Rockford. There's a pastor, I don't know if he's still around, Pastor George, and he's Cuban. He used to be with Gloria Estefan on Miami Sound Machine.
Oh, wow.
And he was a hardcore pastor because he was Cuban. He talked like Scarface, you know what I mean? He's like, God don't look for no chocolate soldiers, because chocolate soldiers are meant in the sun. And that's what I wanted. We used to go out there with megaphones. That's the people that I came from. But now it's changed. It's like, come before the people on a Sunday. Fuck you, pay me. It's Sunday.
Oh.
It's bad.
Yeah, it is. So I love Rick Rubin. I do his quotes. This is the first one I'm doing this year. But the front of his book, and I'm going to use the one I used last year because it's the one I like. It's in the front of his book, and it's from Robert Henry. It says, the plan is not to make great art. It's to live a creative life that makes great art inevitable. Wow. And I mean, I know I see your food. So do you consider cooking to be an art?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I lived in San Antonio, I studied culinary arts. I was there. I didn't get to graduate, but they gave us all the basics of how to take care of food, you know, protecting it from being contaminated in certain levels where you got to keep the food. And they also talked about, you know, that, believe it or not, that you know that there is food ninjas out there, that they will sabotage your food so there's not no good presentation. Everything you do with a salad or whatever you put together, and I've cooked from Texas and I lived in Colorado and I've cooked for upscale places, even the Cheyenne Mountain Resort out there where the former vice president stayed there. They got giraffes, and you know that top chef that works there, or he's the top chef, he's got a Lamborghini and he lives there and he's paid, you know. So, but it's, you know, they always tell me when you bring the food, it's presentation. And when even I worked at Northwest Mutual Bank there and I was in charge of all the food, and what it is people eat with their eyes, you know. It looks so delicious or whatever. It's delectable. And that's what I want to bring. I don't only want to bring a good looking piece, not something sloppy that Burger King slapped together on a sandwich, but I want presentation and I want it to taste good. And I want the people to enjoy themselves. That's my passion behind it, what I love cooking. And I didn't even know nothing of cooking since I was a kid. I started out with just a sandwich coming home from lunch and my mom teaching me that, to making grilled cheese, to making, hormigas, where it's fried tortillas with eggs in it. And sometimes you throw a little bit of ketchup in there and then you know what I mean? You kind of like make it ranch style or whatever, you know, so.
Would you consider cooking to be an integral part of you living a creative life? Cooking is part of it, writing is part of it. Anything else fit into that purview of a creative life?
Also, I believe it's self-care, because a lot of guys don't want to talk about this, but we all go through depression. We all get hit hard. We don't want to confide in anybody. Well, sometimes you got to confide in yourself and remind yourself who you are, because you got negative thoughts. I don't want to go in there, but like I lost a nephew that he was, you know, not only had schizophrenia and all these other things were attacking him, but he took his life. May he rest in peace, Thomas Keelis. He took his own life because these voices in his head. So all of us, these are these things are like, damn, you blew it and all this. But if you do positive affirmations and you speak it to him, and not only to yourself, your ears hear it because you're saying it to yourself. Mm-hmm. So when I went, something happened to me just this past year. The landlord just decided to kick me and my son out. We had the rent paid and everything, and just basically threw us in the street, you know? And it hit me so hard, where I went for a long walk and I took the Hank Aaron's Trail, and I was like, because what we do, we meditate on all this and I'm not good enough. I left from there, I'm like, you know what? Everything that I was born and raised with, Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion, that I'm a champion, I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior, I'm built to last. I'm 51 years old, but you know what? I'm going to speak into existence. I'm going to live to 100. Even my great-grandmother was 109 years old. I'm going to speak because I want to live to see my children's children grow. You have to remind yourself, man, I'll even do where else, like, you know what? I grew up with the $6 Million Man. I had his toy. So I downloaded the intro and would hear it in my ear, you know, bigger, faster, stronger. And I was hit in an accident like a few years back where I got 4 metal screws and a metal plate in my leg. So I've been reinvented. I shouldn't be here right now. I should have been shot and killed over there on 12th and Mineral. Should have been, beat down where they jumped me and they surrounded me in the car. I shouldn't even be alive right now. But when men go through this, where we don't want to have like, no, what will this person think of me? I confide in them that, I'm going through this. We have to confide in ourselves sometimes. If we're the only best friend that we got, you build these positive affirmations to make, and not only that, like I'm just saying, that's a part of my life, but I work out. I started because that's mental and physical health. Just like a part of that Thug Nation piece. They say we have to be strong. We have to protect ourselves, look out for our children, education, educate our mind mentally, physically. And that's what I do. I'll push myself to the limit. If I ain't got no weights and people say, maybe I'll go to the gym. No, do some burpees, clap down and do some burpees. Fill your backpack or your suitcase with other stuff in you. My younger brother, he trains at Duke Rufus now, and he used to do backyard wrestling. My younger brother used to walk around with 5 or almost 10-pound weights in him to get the gravity to make himself stronger. He used to do push-ups on his back, and we used to have 50 pounds on his back in a blanket while he's doing that. Wow. He wanted to be a WWE superstar, but he teamed up with Duke Rufus. He earned multiple championships, multiple belts, and he competed here in Illinois and in Canada. And my younger brother is my role model idol because I used to get involved in the backyard wrestling with him. I used to do backyard, I know he's not gonna hear it, but he used to have his own underground fight club. Not like that, like where people are betting and there's all kinds of people. No, we had where we did submission matches in a basement on a futon mattress and someone was timing it and doing the rounds. So all of that, it inspires me, and I keep working out and keep my physical health because it helps my mental health, know?
All right.
This piece is from the Bone Thugs and Harmony, Thug Nation. Focus, man. Focus. We must confront the past to capitalize on the future. It's inevitable that we focus on our children, on education, not just mental but physical, because it is detrimental. So that we can stand united and kick our enemies' ass. Some time is of the essence. That we stand tall with our chests out and proud to be a part of this Thug Nation. Tell me when we get mad, why do we fuck up our own shit? Doesn't make no sense. We gotta get it together, y'all. I did everything for my babies. I brought them here. I raised them. I feed them. We are bringing you into a nation of thugs, an organization of thugs. Nothing but thugs. So with all due respect, we give praises to Creator. I want to read out of the book of Babylon, chapter 1. For it is written in Braille. It's not just anger, what you feel, not just frustration and depression, what you feel, my children, consumed and confused with contusion. See, the same ghettos the institutionalized us have been our training ground. Tonight is not just the beginning, y'all. No, it is the rejuvenation of revelation and revolution. Revolution that our mothers and our fathers have abandoned us. So I will struggle with you. I will counsel with you. I will eat with you and break bread with you. And may God bless all his soldiers. May God bless all his soldiers. Tell me, people, where my thugs at? Where my goddamn thugs at? We are organized here for a group of not just people, but to organize more than that. Do you understand? We're trying to organize a goddamn army. A nation of thugs. See, the enemy is not your brother. The enemy is the pigs. The enemy is the CIA. Because they want to throw your ass in jail. We need to let them know how it feels. We should start patrolling the pigs. We should start patrolling this fucking ICE. Let them know how it feels to be followed and have surveillance under them. Let them know how it feels to have their phone tapped. Let them know how it feels when someone pulls up on the side of their crib who's out there. Thug Nation, dedicated to Bone Thugs and Harmony, coming soon in Milwaukee. Peace.
So, influences, you mentioned the Thug Nation piece. So it's a piece that we recorded here with, it's got like a crowd noise. The whole piece is like a homage to Bone Thugs and Harmony. Yeah. What I like to do with the artists that come on the show is a segment we call Under the Influence. And we talk about, say, influences to your art or your creative process that are not necessarily writers or other poets. So, you know, Bone Thugs musically would be one. I know movies for you is huge. Yeah. He had one of the best quotes in one of his pieces. It might have been that one, it might not have, but he said, Superfly said it in the movie Superfly. Yeah. What a great line.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great line. You know, we need to remember Superfly.
Yeah, because when that what is that? They were trying to set him up and find the money on him. And he's like, don't you know if I even choke on a chicken bone or my hair go out of place, I got killers, I got hitters, not just my people, white ones, baby. So he had unity with the white people. You know what I mean? He knew he used a psychological war game. You think I'm out here by myself because I'm black and I'm Superfly? No.
I mean, the whole genre of films that we're talking blaxploitation, Latino exploitation, what was Shaft? All of that stuff is in.
I've got the theme music going through my head.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was there, and you pay homage to a ton of that stuff. Yeah. The Warriors, which when it came out, I forget they released the Warriors on like the same weekend as, like I'm gonna just say E.T. or something, like some big ass movie.
Or Saturday Night Fever came out.
Maybe,
too.
yeah. And it didn't do well at the box office. But there was not one kid that I knew when I was growing up that didn't have that VHS in his house. And he'd be like, let's put this on, And yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how it was. So let me ask you that any other ancillary that aren't movies or aren't that. Do you have a favorite painter or anybody like that?
There's like a lot of my friends have been graffiti artists. I got another friend that he was also a former Latin King brother that this is what he dedicates his time. He goes out there and he films the trains that have the graffiti on it, and that's his whole thing. And not only that, but he reminded me like a Mexican version of Ice-T. I grew up on Ice-T. Ice-T was like my uncle. Rocky, Sylvester Stallone was like an uncle to me. I grew up on him, but what he told me, like he spit game to me like Ice-T. He wasn't the one to try to put a piece in my hand, to go hurt somebody or what. Like he gave me knowledge and street facts and, helped me to be street savvy. Those are the type of people that are like influences, but he's an artist. He's also a graffiti artist. He used to go by Artistic, and his name is Arturo. He'd go by Artistic. Now he changed up the game, and he calls himself Artistic Funk. He's pretty dope. But, it's just like him and I'm going to say a lot of the graffiti artists that are still around. My guy, he used to call himself, he's an Irish brother. He used to go by the name Ox. That was his graffiti name. And he changed it up now. And if you get a chance, please come to Milwaukee. Come to Under the Bridge between 7th and 8th. And that's where you'll see his pieces and other graffiti artists there. I love what Milwaukee local artists, those are the artists that I love. David Gleason, that's his name. There used to be Ox. Now, when he switched up his name, he calls himself Evolve, and it's like he bring evolution to the game. And his piece that he did looks like these stairs going out into outer space, like it's a journey that you are evolving. So I look up to another friend. He's still around. His name is Albert Gonzalez, and he's originally from Newark, New Jersey. He had several different tagger names. He used to go by CIA. Criminally insane artist. He used to go by NBC. He used to go by New Wave. but everybody knows him by Albert. All these, there used to be other artists that were, had their name up on the wall and their graffiti pieces, and I think he's with Kento Soul now, that they blew up. He used to be Scribe. He used to call himself Scribe. They formed Kento Soul. Now they're worldwide. They used to have a little graffiti shop in Milwaukee on the south side. They blew up now because of their music, and they're worldwide. But these local artists, I'm going to say, I love their graffiti style. I love what they do. My local artists, I pay tribute to Milwaukee and Milwaukee graffiti artists.
Definitely.
That's perfect.
Definitely.
This piece is called LA Tour. See, it started out in small houses, in small gatherings, from Milwaukee's North Side poets to the South Side poets gathering. From open mics at Food for Thought to poetry, uncut and real and Racine to Wordsmith Wednesday. Poets, even poets from Chicago, they came up and we went there. Poets in the Midwest. See, it started out in little mini tours, but it got bigger and bigger venues. And by the time we know that it got bigger in the Midwest and all over the place in New York, we started doing LA tours. Then it became nationwide and world tours, gatherings from poets just to see these poets and be together and break bread with our poets and brothers. Small gatherings from poets from all over Puerto Rico, Mexico, London, and France. And you know that when we pull up in France and we go out there, they call it La Tour. Yeah, from multiple chapters and multiple ciphers, gathering to break bread together to meet with family. My poet family from all over the world, gathered under this umbrella. Peace.
Savvy Magoo and I were out in Los Angeles last year for 10 days performing and stuff, and we got to see some absolutely crazy
Graffiti out there was unbelievable. Wow. I go to Barcelona, and I love the graffiti there all the time. I'm an aficionado.
And then murals, street art. If you want to see murals, Rockford is where we're
full
at
of them.
now.
Wow.
Full of them, and some really beautiful stuff. We got a little bit of time left. I want to do a new segment that we have called What Did We Learn? This would be something new for, I don't even know if I talked to you about this, Savvy Magoo, or not. There's something new for season 2. Maybe it'll become a weekly thing. Maybe we'll visit it from time to time. I don't know. We're not really planners, or I'm not really a planner. Even though I have like a semi-script, it's really not that
Well,
good.
I don't read.
Right, and that's
so
true.
You don't have to worry about me.
Anyway. So I'm going to ask you, Savvy Magoo, what did we learn this week?
My gosh. Well, I just learned about Cyrus and his inspirations. I love the things you appreciate. You made me hungry. And I was a school teacher. I had a public art unit that I taught, and we did a lot of graffiti. And I wish I'd had you as a resource, because you could have come in and talked about and maybe showed pictures of some of these. Although what you did, I loved. He invited us to come under that one bridge in Milwaukee. I love that. I'd like to take my students on a field trip to the good graffiti.
And it's also a skate park, too. Because they skate there as well.
Yeah. Interesting. What did I learn? I learned that Cyrus is exactly who I thought he was.
Wow.
and that's cool. I can tell you, I put together, curate the whole roster for the season that we're going to record, and this was one of the top episodes that I was the most excited about bringing you on and giving you a chance to show the world who you were and your passion and your authenticity. I mean, it comes across. If anybody's paying attention, or if they stream this later, your words are going to get transcribed on the screen, when you talk. And I think some of the monologues that you delivered today in this is actually poetry. It is real, authentic poetry. And I would have people go back through this episode and listen to it, because it matters. Sitting across the table from you here, I could see you turning it around in your head and coming up with it on the fly and rolling with it. And I would ask people to go and try to understand and appreciate the care and thought that you put into what you were saying during the show today, because we got to at least experience it firsthand. We got to see you, which people out there in Radio Land don't get to do. They don't get to see you.
So I got to add one other thing.
Yeah.
One other thing I learned. I mean, you have a really strong voice. Your voice comes through, and by that I mean, your word choice, your tone, all the things you can tell in person and orally, but also I bet if I see your writing as writing with no other, no facial expression, no tone of voice, none of that, your voice would still come through really strongly.
That's a good point. I have people say that to me. They will say, when I read your stuff, I can hear your voice saying it. And that is something that you own as well. You have that power.
And you know what James Hamilton says? He says that that's the thing that AI can't do.
It can't do it.
It can't sweat, it doesn't perspire, and it doesn't have voice.
And it does not use antiperspirant.
Right?
For sure. For sure. Common thread. We got a common thread this week between our guests.
Well, I'm flattered that you think I've got a common thread with Cyrus.
You've got a common thread with Cyrus. Do you want to take a guess first as to what it is?
Well, we're both wearing baseball caps.
I'm going to tell you you're close.
Whoa!
I'm going to tell you you're close.
Okay, we're both wearing hoodies?
You're just as close as you were with the hat. Let's just say that. All right?
That's what I got.
All right. Cyrus, you want to take a guess?
I can't think of anything right now.
All right. I'm going to tell you what it is. You got fashion. You're streetwear. You are fashionistas, both of you. I can tell you, I came out to the green room before we started, and you're out there comparing threads. You're showing me designs on your sweatshirt.
Yeah, he was.
Aztec versions of the Milwaukee Bucks logo.
He's got an Aztec version of the Milwaukee Bucks logo on his chest.
And before we even left the house this morning, Savvy Magoo put on that hoodie that he has on, says Savvy Magoo on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, straight up. So I mean, you guys are like little fashion twins. You have your hoodies on, your hats on, everything, and the kicks. Look at the kicks.
Oh,
boom, boom.
These are
Just like
Supremes.
that. Yeah,
These are Supremes.
yeah.
Ironically, I was gonna wear these other boots, but they had, where they were like kind of like, I don't know, they just had some salt residue and all that, and I was like, and they look kind of bent up, but I have these other shoes. They're Guess brands, but it's got this like almost looks like ostrich type print on them. You know what I mean? But it has Guess all over the black shoes. I was like, I'll put those on right last minute. As soon as Inspiration pulled up, I changed my shoes. So there was something in the universe.
That's what I'm saying. You guys.
I learned something new today.
Totally. I mean, this was probably some weeks I have a hard time coming up with the common threads. Today I was like, oh, this is easy. This is simple.
Well,
simple.
I am flattered.
Yeah.
To be compared to that fashion plate, my goodness.
The final thing that we have, the last word. So a couple of weeks ago when we conversated and we made this plan to have you on the show, you knew you were going to be on. There was that one thing in your head. You said, if I get on the radio, maybe it wasn't even a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was when you were a little kid growing up. And you said, if I ever get on the radio, I'm going to say this. Now, Cyrus the Taino, is the time for your last word.
My last word is, everybody out there, white, black, brown, unite. Protect your people, protect your family, because it's on right now.
That's the truth.
Wow, I'm holding my fist up.
You know what's great about the last word? I never have to add anything to it. These
No,
guests are.
it is.
I mean, they're fire every.
It's the last word.
Yeah. Well, this is like what, 15 or 16 shows, and everyone has just been like crazy. Yeah.
You stuck the landing.
Awesome. Thank you, Cyrus the Taino, for coming on the show. I mean, you are now part of the Versed alumni and family. So that means whenever we're recording or perform or anything, just show up. Poke your head in the door. We did a show earlier with Black Ice and I Inspiration. Our president from Wisconsin showed up, knocked on the door, and just crashed the recording. Just came in. You now have the ability to do that whenever you want. So we'd be happy to have you back.
Oh, we'd be
Definitely.
blessed.
Yeah, we'd be blessed.
James Hamilton's in the building.
In the building. From the basement of the building which houses the Mendelssohn Center for the Performing Arts in Rockford, Illinois, for Savvy Magoo, Rachel, the engineer, and the entire production team, which is Eric, here at Verst and WBOM Full Service Radio. I am James Hamilton, signing off until next time. Peace.